Okay. Uh, let's see. We did take a vote in executive session, and we need a motion on that. Gina, want to make a motion on that?
Make a motion to uphold the superintendent's recommendation.
Aye.
The
Second.
1033 grievance noted in executive session.
Right. Second. Mr. Andriozzi. All
Aye.
opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next item. Let's see. Correspondence? None. Public comments on agenda items 6 to 11. Anyone have anything on that? No? Okay. Superintendent's report. Okay, Bridget? Let me see. Andrew, does he have, did Jared have something on public comments? Did you have something on public comments? Agenda item 6 to 11? Oh, okay. You know what, why don't you make it now? It's okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the committee and members of the school department, general public. My name is Jared Lepore. I'm a field representative for the Laborers Union, Local 1033 Public Employees. I'm here tonight to speak in opposition to the superintendent's proposed elimination of building assistants at Birchwood and Maryville. Maureen Sammartino is a longtime building assistant at Birchwood. If this position is eliminated, there would be 2 assistants where there are now 3 required. Amongst Maureen's duties includes working with the resource teacher. At the time that teachers are required to be out, without limitation, breaks such as lunchtime, there are no substitutes for these teachers, so Maureen is required to be in the rooms where those teachers are not. Many classrooms have no books, so in addition to the duties in the classroom, an immense amount of administrative duties are required of Maureen. Between the 4 and 5 classrooms and the subjects of science, math, and English, at least 27 students. Gail Lucas is the building assistant at Maryville. The work that Gail completes for the district includes kindergarten and 1st grade. For example, one student requires 30 minutes of intensive instruction every single morning, which she dutifully completes. The 5 or 6 kindergarten students that require intensive one-on-one assistance throughout the day would be without Gail if the superintendent's proposal is approved. 2 1st grade students that require de-escalation for behavior problems would also too be at a loss because Gail at this time accompanies them for such incidents. Do you have a question? You're welcome.
Anthony.
Mr. Palmieri?
I don't want to sound ignorant, but I really don't know what you're talking about, okay? I have no knowledge. We didn't, I mean, the superintendent that left, I guess, did whatever she did without anybody's knowledge. Yeah, come on up. So I just want you to know that, I mean, I don't know what you're, we can review it, and we could talk to the special ed director and see what positions, I mean, I don't know. At this committee, I mean, I don't know anybody else knows what's going on, but I really don't. Do you? So it was done without our knowledge, and I believe that's why we didn't want any more duties being performed. So this displacements that you're talking about, I don't
Excuse
know.
me, Steve, I don't, the superintendent wants to say something. Go ahead.
Okay, so Mr. Palmieri, I can speak to that a little bit. Again, like you said, I'm coming in a little late in the game, but I've been able to have conversations with the building principals and Mr. Jones regarding these reductions and displacements. And so a tremendous amount of thought has been put into why these displacements can and should take place. So it certainly has not been without communication, a review of the data, and you know, I know it's public comment, so I can't respond to the comments that were made this evening, but this was not something that was just decided, you know, within the last month even. It was a cut that was made prior to.
Okay, I understand, but if he's coming here and at some point he wants us to make a decision, I'm not going to say yes or no unless you at least come to us and tell. I'm not saying tonight, but at some point we have to get together and find out exactly what we're voting on, so we know that why these people are displaced. You know, I mean, I'm not going to, maybe not tonight, but next time you come and you want us to vote on it, I can't vote on something I don't know what's being done.
Okay.
Okay?
Can I just speak with
Attorney?
counsel for a minute, please? Well, then I would just conclude my public comments with the suggestion as a member of the public, the committee allowed the time to review numerous statements that I have from community members, teachers, administration in different schools that speak to the importance of these roles in the building that will be eliminated. And if I may be given that opportunity, this could be heard at the next committee meeting. Indeed. Excuse me? I have many with me now, and I have many that will be forthcoming. I thought that the committee was... Oh.
So I'm just going to go through you referenced these already. So we have Maureen Sammartino, teacher assistant at Birchwood. Reason for the displacement is the reduction of the position. Gail Lucas, teacher assistant at Maryville. Reason for displacement, reduction of position. So that's 2 where we've reduced the number of assistants at those buildings. The next 3 have different circumstances. Patricia Lorenko at Birchwood, and the student is not returning to our district. Marianne Susi, teacher assistant at North Providence High School. We will be replacing the teacher assistant with a nurse due to student needs. And the final one, Suzanne Marcascio, teacher assistant at McGuire. The student is moving out of district.
Thank you very much.
So it's those...
Chris, excuse me, Chris Jones, you went through these teacher assistant matters, right? You more or less recommend, this is your recommendations based on, what you saw?
Well, those are the answers as to why those were displaced.
All right, okay.
Would this item be a proposal that's going to be on the agenda later this evening? Okay, so at the time that you're going to propose it, then, is there an opportunity for the committee to review the letters in opposition? Okay. Well, there are other letters that are forthcoming. If the committee could reconsider for...
Please submit everything you have now for the agenda item that has been on the agenda and posted as per the Secretary of State's website. If you have what you have right now. If you don't have it with you, please just submit what you have.
Okay.
Okay, so we'd like to provide the committee with a facilities update. Before I turn this over to Mr. McNamee, I'd like to personally thank him for really taking the lead on all of our efforts and initiatives with regard to our facilities and the many changes. Since our last school committee meeting, he has coordinated with many other people in the district the move of 2 schools, making sure that the two schools, our swing schools, are in good condition, excellent condition, ready to go, opened up. So he's certainly gone above and beyond, and I truly appreciate what he's done. So, Mr. McNamee, would you mind giving us an update with facilities?
Thank you. So we have, well, let me start with the financing. So next week, we intend to print the official statement, price $40 million worth of bonds, which will be sold middle of July, and we intend to close on those probably the first week of August. So we'll have 40 million out of the 75 million. The financing plan is to issue those bonds now, probably within a period of 16 to 18 months later. We'll probably go back to the market and make a determination as to when we're going to go back for the additional 35 million. The rates have been holding pretty well, so it looks like we'll get a pretty good rate for the bonds at this point in time. So we're going to issue those to Rhode Island Health Educational Building Corporation, and we received the final approval last Thursday night at a meeting I attended. As far as the buildings, you'll notice as the superintendent indicated, we've moved out of those buildings. Friday we'll be taking a tour to make sure everything that we have in those buildings have been removed or thrown away, because we don't want to have union help going in there at high wages to use them to eliminate the remainder in the building. So we have dumpsters, and our custodians and maintenance staff at the town will be emptying out the buildings, so that when we turn them over to the demolition crew, which will happen on July 5th, that will be the start of the construction in earnest. So we'll have probably anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks of remediation in those buildings to eliminate the hazardous waste, which has been identified, and then the actual demolition of the buildings will probably take place sometime in September. So by the end of September, we'll have a clean site. Buildings will be demolished. And at the same time, as you heard at tonight's meeting, we're getting the schematic designs submitted to RIDE for approval. During that process, we're also going to try to get some early bid packages out so we don't fall behind. And those early bid packages will be for the site work, for the foundation, and for the steel. So we're hoping to get those out early August. So we'll have those vendors on site. Ideally, what we're hoping is that we would have the foundation and the steel set up by the end of the year. During the winter, unfortunately, we'll have to enclose the buildings in the winter months. But it is what it is in order for us to meet the schedule. So right now, we're on schedule. We believe that that 18-month time frame from the period of July of this year, we should be finishing somewhere between March 2019 and June 2019 in terms of getting certificate of occupancies for the 2 new buildings. So right now, everything is on target.
Thank you very much, John. Yeah. Yes, Mr. De Silva.
John, the steel and all those other specs, that'll be written by Gilbane, I assume.
Yeah, Gilbane, as the construction manager, will bid out. The specifications have to come from the architect. So once the buildings have been, for example, the foundations have been identified in terms of the size of the buildings, then they can let those specs out, for example, for the foundation and also for the initial site work and also for the steel. So when we know what the building envelope is going to look like, those bids can be accelerated rather than waiting for the final
Right.
designs
But
to be
who writes
completed.
the bids?
Well, the specs would come from the architects, and Gilbane does that through their bidding process.
Okay.
Right.
So you're not writing those bids?
No.
Okay. And are we approving now the facilities pending the revisions?
Yeah,
Are
I
we
got
making
that
a
right
motion
over
to
here.
do that now? Is
Yeah, I
that
got
on
that
the
over
agenda now?
Not right now. but
Okay,
it's
that's
on
not
the-
up. Okay,
it's
thank
on
you.
the agenda. Okay. All right. You want to get into that second thing? Okay. Be resolved. Yep, all set.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the financial report as submitted.
So, second.
Ms. Iannetta, second by Mrs. Picard. Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have. Go to the next item.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve homeschool requests, which we do not have any homeschool requests
Okay,
at this
all right.
time.
All right, we'll skip that.
Okay. Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the field trip requests as submitted.
Need a
So
motion?
moved.
Motion by Ms. Picard, seconded by Ms. Iannetta. Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the architect contract as submitted.
Motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Picard, seconded by Mr. Andriozzi, I believe. Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it, so voted. Next item, I'm gonna read it myself because need a special motion on this. This is the recommendation to consider and vote, and this would be the revised schematic design of the buildings, and that would be submitted to RIDE as revised. We need a motion.
So
Hey.
moved.
Mrs. Picard, I believe, seconded by Mr. Andriozzi. That's right, and the entire committee. All right. Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it, so voted. Okay, I just want to mention one thing. I think there's some confusion on these displacement. My understanding is that everyone's going to end up with a job. So I don't know, you know, what... Sure, sure. This is what I've been told, that everyone's going to end up with a job, right?
The opposition is to the elimination of Gail's position, and Gail would like the opportunity prior to the committee voting on the matter to be heard. You see, it's the importance of the building assistant position that she'd like to speak to, please.
Sure. Yes,
Okay, you have to bear with me. This is a first for me to do.
that's okay.
Thank you. I want to tell you that I have 30 years' experience working with children. I've spent the past 12 years working in Vermont as a paraprofessional, came back to my hometown of North Providence, and I've worked the last 2 years at Maryville. I have to tell you, Maryville, I think, is one of the neediest schools you have in the town. Every classroom that I'm in, any adult that's in there, these kids just love the attention. They need it. When you look at the economic profile of most of the families in Maryville, and just what we do as building assistants for these children, I think is not more important than the other schools, but I think we see more of a result at our school. We see the after-school programs that they have for the children, the family that we have built there at the school with the teachers, the support staff, the bus monitors, and everybody that gets together to do things for these children. That's why I do feel they need that extra face there. And that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Yeah. The superintendent's going to just respond, okay?
So thank you very much for sharing that. And I agree that, that there is additional need maybe perhaps at some of our schools as opposed to others. So I want to explain that when these decisions were made to either displace or reallocate positions and whatnot, they truly were not made in isolation or without consideration to the needs of the entire district. So I personally, as the superintendent, did not initiate these. However, I've spent a lot of time with the principals, with support staff, with Mr. McNamee, Mr. Jones, looking at each and every position. And we've tried extremely hard to find ways to financially support each of the positions. But the reality is that we're not able to do so. So we have to make some of these tough decisions. I completely respect what all of you do, and I understand that it's not a pleasant experience to be displaced, but we have to make the decisions that are the tough ones to make. And you know, we're not being unsympathetic, but we had to make some tough decisions. We certainly will continue to provide the supports that Maryville and the other schools get. We try to give the schools what they need. It's never enough. We would love to just flood the schools with all the adult support that we can, but we also have to make some of those tough decisions. So I truly do appreciate what you shared with us tonight and what you do. And you know, we'll continue to try to support the kids as best as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Yeah, and I think, speaking on behalf of the committee, you know, we get these recommendations and whatever, and we try to do the best we can. Maryville, I gotta say, has a very special place in my heart because that's where I grew up. I was born and brought up down there, and there's no question about the needs. Thank God, I think we have a great principal down there. Bruce does a tremendous job down there. This is what I'm hearing anyway. And I know you people as a support staff do a great job. Hopefully in the future, you know, we can do more, you know. Thank you very much for coming in. And believe me, we listen to what, I'm listening to what you're saying, believe me. Thank you. Next time.
Anthony, I just want to say thank you for the clarification. I really didn't know. And Jared, you gave us papers here with somebody who's going back to their original position. So I don't, yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm just saying, I just want to be sure before I make a vote that I know what's going on, that's all. And with all the the new superintendent and all these decisions that were made, some of them I weren't aware of, but now I am. Thank you anyway.
Thank you.
Be it resolved at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the 2020 senior prom contract as submitted.
So moved.
Motion. I'm sorry, Mrs. Picard, someone else say something? Oh, I'm sorry. Second by Mr. Iannetta. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
Be it resolved at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the bids as submitted.
Let's see. How many bids do we have? Any bids?
If I may?
Yes, John.
So we have there are 4 bids, 3 of which I'm looking for an approval on. We have 2 bids relating to the buildings. We have the bid for the roof replacements at Wayland and at Ritchie, which are going to be done this summer as part of the health and safety program. Gilbane has put those bids out, and McKenna Roofing has been selected to perform the roofing work at both Wayland and at Ritchie. McKenna Roofing has done a lot of work here at the high school on the roof as well. So they're recommending the selection of McKenna, not only for their ability to get the job done, but they were also low bid as well on that. The second bid relating to the facilities was for the general labor and carpentry, which Gilbane put out, and Shamrock Construction was the low bidder. The number that you have there is an estimate based on their usage. So depending on how much they do use, they're estimating that to be in that $700,000 range at this point in time. Both of those bids have been approved by the Facilities Committee at their previous meeting. So we're looking for approval on those bids from the school committee this evening.
Motion
Okay,
made.
John. You're recommending these bids to be approved, right, John?
For the facilities, then I've got the energy bids I want to talk about next.
Okay. All right, we need a motion on the facilities bids.
Motion made on the facilities bid.
Second, motion by Mr. Silva, seconded by Mr. Ionetta. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, ayes have it, so voted. John?
All right, we have, presently have, we're at the end of, getting to the end of our 3-year contract for both the purchase of natural gas and electricity. The costs for natural gas and electricity have come down dramatically. So what we're looking to do is, on the natural gas, enter into a 2-year fixed-rate contract with Direct Energy, who is the supplier of our natural gas right now. Direct Energy has negotiated a contract with the Rhode Island Rhode Island School Committee Association. As a result of that contract, we're buying off that contract, and we have received a bid of, I believe it's 5.2 per decatherm. We're actually paying a little over 9 right now, so it's a substantial reduction. And I'd like to enter into a 2-year contract. The reason I'm going with 2 years is that the new schools will then be online, and then we'll go back into the market and see what we can do once that expires. So the contract ends in December of 17, so the new contract would go through December of 19, but they can actually enter into that contract now because they can go out and purchase the energy for delivery over that 2-year period.
Okay, John, we're going to vote on the, is this the gas contract? The gas contract. Motion?
Well, I'll make a motion,
Motion by Mr. Silva, seconded by
but then I have a discussion.
Mr. Ambrosi. Discussion.
Quick question. So, with our swing space, we have to pay for all of this with our swing space. So that's part of your bid, and is it the same supplier?
Well, interestingly enough, Calif is heated by oil, and
Yeah, that's what I thought.
St. Pat's is by electricity. So
Oh.
we're actually not going to use natural gas in either of those facilities.
After
About
all
the
that.
electricity. This is also the electricity bid.
Well, I'm going to talk about that next.
Okay, sorry.
Let's do
So
it.
this is a motion for the natural gas.
Yes, just passed it, okay. Did we vote on that yet? No. Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the
No,
superintendent,
we still have to talk about the
Oh.
electricity bid.
I got one more here.
Electricity, that was my,
So our electricity
Electricity.
expires again in December. So we have received quotes from our current electricity supplier, Constellation. Direct Energy also supplies electricity, and they've given us a quote. Those are somewhere in the 7.5 per kilowatt hour. We're actually paying right now 9.2 cents per kilowatt hour. So we're going to see a reduction in that energy cost as well. There's a group out of Dallas, Texas that I've been talking with, Calpine Energy, and they have a program where you can buy it's kind of an index pricing that they use. And what happens is that if you enter into this contract and you have a declining cost, you're not going to be locked in to paying the higher price, which is what happened to us during this period of time. What we thought was a low price at that point in time, at the electricity has really come down to probably a low point right now. They're claiming that based on a combination of using this pricing plus also buying some electricity under a fixed price contract, as we do now, that they could save in the neighborhood, depending on how aggressive we get with the hedging, anywhere from 43,000 at the high to a low of about 27,000. So what I'd like to do is investigate, they're supposed to send me up a contract so I can take a look at a 24-month contract, and also talk to a couple of other districts. There's a district out in Ohio that uses them. So I'd like to talk to them and get their thoughts on why they've moved over to this index pricing. And if we can save a little bit of money on that pricing by going with the index pricing, I think it's something we probably should investigate.
Yeah, I agree with you, John.
So what I'll do is I'll get, as long as you guys are good with it, I'll get the information to bring to the committee at the next meeting based on my evaluation.
Okay, no problem. Anyone have a problem with that?
No problem at all. A quick question. I don't know if they do this, I know they do it for homes. What about the option to solar? I think you have to put panels on all that, or just buy directly from a solar
Well, we're going to look
generated
at this.
company.
We're going to look at alternative energy for the new buildings. So once we get to that point, we're going to be looking at those sources. And again, the town was also looking at putting in a solar field. So if they do something with like a net energy, they might be a few years off for us to be able to use that. So at this point in time, by entering into this contract, it's not going to impact us at all if we look at the alternative energy sources. So.
Okay, thank you, John.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the resignations as submitted.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Picard. Who seconded it? Mr. Andriozzi. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the retirements as submitted.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Iannetta, seconded by Ms. Picard. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the leave of absences as submitted.
Motion by Mr. Iannetta, seconded by Ms. Picard. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the layoff/non-renewals as submitted.
Motion by Mr. Andriozzi, seconded by Mr. Palmieri and Mrs. Picard. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the appointments as submitted.
Okay,
So
we gotta
moved with
hold off on
discussion
that
and-
for a second. I have someone here this evening, Mr. Brunetti, would like to make a comment on item number 13. Mr. Brunetti, can you want to come up? Yes, sir.
Thank you for doing a great job and picking a great candidate. I think sports go beyond winning and losing, and I grew up with soccer in Italy, and it's really taken over in this country, and it's the most played sport, even in our town, counting boys and girls. And to me, my daughter's really spent a lot of time since she was 8 years old, and it gives me great joy to know that I think we have a great coach coming and moving forward to get our program to the levels of the other high schools. So this is a great night for us, and we're really happy moving forward, and I hope that it goes great.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you
Burnett.
very much.
Thank you for coming.
Even Mr. Marceravo
Ah,
worked very hard, and Jessica Libby too, so that we worked behind the
all right.
scenes on this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you again. Okay, we're gonna do that. We didn't do the appointment, Joe. Yeah, oh yeah. We didn't do it. No, that's all right. Yeah, okay. We need a motion on the appointments.
So
Motion made.
second with discussion?
Yeah, Ron Iannetta, I think, was, made a motion to move it. Second by Mrs. Picard. Discussion.
I just need to make an adjustment. So we have an appointment for the HES Assistant Program Director. So it says June 28th, when in reality, it should have been on the agenda for May 30th. However, when we put May 30th, we do need to go back because there's a possibility we could do it sooner after she was actually notified.
Okay, you want to amend that?
Amend the agenda, the correct date. The original date should have been May 30th.
Okay.
There was an error on
All right.
our end.
Okay, so there's you're going to make a motion to pass it with the amendment on that particular matter,
Right, and then we just need to review the possibility that it could be a few weeks before that, but right now, we
Okay.
know for a fact that it should have been on the May 30th agenda with the review.
Okay. Anyone want to second that? Second by Mr. Palmieri. Discussion on the vote as amended. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
Okay,
Next item.
I just want to point out that one of our teachers that we just appointed is here with us tonight. Lauren Formansky is going to be our new math and computer science teacher at North Providence High. And also, sorry, congratulations, Lauren, welcome. Also, Nikki Bond, you're back there. Nikki was just appointed as well as HES.
We wish you the best.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the layoff rescission as submitted.
Motion by Mr. Iannetta, seconded by Mr. Palmieri. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the displacement rescission as submitted.
Motion by Mr.
So moved.
Picard, second by Mr. Iannetta. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the I already read that. Sorry. Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the removal of textbooks from the inventory as submitted.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Seconded by Mr. Iannetta, I think. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes voted. Next item.
Okay, this is a policy, third read on the North Providence High School diploma system.
So
Motion
moved.
on that, Mrs. Picard, seconded by Mr. Andriozzi. Discussion, all those in favor? Ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
Next item is not for vote, just for a second read.
Second read on both of those policies. Okay, acceptable use of district computer network and internet student policy, that's also a
Second read, okay. That's been resolved. Yeah, yeah, so I guess we should vote on this in open session because that matter was resolved. So we're going to accept the recommendation of legal counsel. So we need a motion. Motion by oh, okay. We're going to hold that until we get the actual documents. Okay, thank you. Use of property. Oh, are there any requests to address the committee?
Yep.
You got
I'm
something?
sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, we don't have any.
You do have
Oh, we do have them? Okay. Yeah, we got. Okay. Okay.
Oh, yeah, but he said request.
Oh, school, oh, yeah. Property request, that's fine. Yeah, yeah, okay. No, no, you got it. You did all right.
So
Don't-
we need to
Yeah,
approve that, right?
yeah, yes. You're gonna move to approve that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought so.
You're all right. Don't-
Mr. De Silva, there's a property request
There's a
in there?
property request.
Okay.
It's a property request. The item before property request is request to address the committee. And
There's no request.
We
There
have
aren't
no
any.
request addressed to the
That's
committee.
what
That
we're
would be like Rod the Silva request to
Yeah,
address the
but
committee.
there's nobody
because
that
it
wants.
doesn't like Mike
There's nobody,
Cicerone.
Rod. There's
Something like
nobody.
that. He was just sitting there, Mike, I apologize.
Okay, all right. Now, go ahead.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the use of property requests as submitted.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Picard, seconded by Mr. Iannetta. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, ayes have it for vote. Next item.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the list of bills as submitted.
Okay, we gotta pay the bills.
So moved with regret.
Yeah, there you go, with regret.
Mrs. Picard,
Second with
Goodbye.
regret. How's that, huh?
who seconded? De Silva? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it, so voted.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the minutes for the previous meetings as submitted.
Okay, Gina.
Okay, so approve the May 24th executive session minutes, approve and seal, applicable to provisions of Rhode Island General Law 42-46-4 and 5, and as well as approve the minutes for the May 24th open session meeting.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. De Silva. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. There's no pending business that I'm aware of. We need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
And to move back into executive session.
In the executive session, things adjourned at 8:35.
We have a laugh break before we get down there.